Welcome to Final Bow. I'm Kenneth. Today, we pause to honor those remarkable souls who took their final bow, leaving behind memories that still live within us. Through their passion and dedication, they touched countless hearts. As we remember them, we celebrate their journey and the lasting impact they made on the world. 50 years ago this week, Chester Bennington was born, a vocalist whose voice carried an unusual mix of intensity and emotion. As the frontman of Linkin Park, he became known for performances that felt deeply personal, as if every lyric was being pulled from real experience. Whether delivering raw energy or quiet reflection, his voice had a way of reaching listeners directly and honestly. Music that spoke for millions. Through songs like In the End and One Step Closer, Chester helped shape a sound that defined a generation. His delivery wasn't just technical, it was emotional storytelling. Many listeners found comfort in his music because it expressed feelings they often struggled to say themselves. The contrast between aggression and vulnerability in his voice became a signature that set the band apart and made their music timeless. A legacy that still lives on. Chester passed away in 2017 at the age of 41. Leaving behind a legacy that continues to resonate around the world. His impact didn't fade with time. Instead, it grew stronger as new listeners discovered his work. Today, his voice remains a source of connection, understanding, and remembrance for millions who still find meaning in his songs. A message has been circulating online claiming that DJ Daniel Ware, also known as DJ Dan, has passed away at the age of 57. At this time, there is no confirmed or reliable public reporting from major news sources or official statements to verify this claim. Because of that, it should be treated as unconfirmed information rather than a factual announcement. Career in electronic music. DJ Dan is widely recognized as an influential figure in electronic and house music, especially connected with the development of the West Coast house sound. Over the years, he built a strong reputation in club culture for his high-energy sets and his ability to connect rhythm and groove in a way that resonated with dance floors. His work helped shape a recognizable style that became popular in underground venues and later extended into larger festival spaces. Signature tracks and style. He is often associated with memorable productions like the Phone Track and Zipper Track, which are known for their playful, driving energy and club-focused sound design. These tracks became regular features in DJ sets and contributed to his identity as a producer who understood the pulse of the dance floor. Legacy and influence. Across decades, DJ Dan has remained a respected name among DJs and electronic music fans. His influence continues through his recordings, mixes, and the lasting impact of his style on house music culture and club communities. The entertainment world recently reflected on the life of Kiki Shepard, who passed away at the age of 74. She is remembered as a warm and steady presence on television, someone who brought sincerity and energy wherever she appeared. Audiences often felt a sense of comfort watching her, as she had a natural way of making performances feel special and human without overshadowing the artist she introduced. Showtime at the Apollo era. Her most recognized role came from Showtime at the Apollo, where she served as a longtime co-host. Alongside performers from many backgrounds, she helped celebrate both emerging and established talent. Her encouragement and stage presence made her an important part of the show's identity, creating moments that highlighted music, comedy, and culture in a way that felt alive and welcoming to audiences, a legacy of care and service. Beyond television, Kiki Shepard made a lasting impact through her advocacy work. With the KIS Foundation, she supported individuals affected by sickle cell disease, focusing on awareness and care for those in need. Her legacy extends beyond entertainment, living on through the lives she touched and the communities she supported with consistent compassion and purpose. Author Tracy Kidder passed away at his daughter's home in Boston at the age of 80 after an illness. He was widely respected for his contributions to narrative nonfiction, where his writing focused on real people and complex systems told with clarity and empathy. His work left a lasting impression on readers and writers alike, shaping how many understand deeply reported storytelling, achievements, and major works. He is best known for winning the Pulitzer Prize in 1982 for his nonfiction book, The Soul of a New Machine. He also authored influential works such as Mountains Beyond Mountains and Among School Children. His books explored themes of technology, education, and global health, earning widespread critical acclaim for making complex subjects accessible while keeping a strong human focus at the center of every story. Service and legacy. A Vietnam War veteran, he served as a military intelligence officer and was awarded the Bronze Star for his service. Beyond his military and literary career, he is remembered for his precision, empathy, and commitment to truthful storytelling. His legacy continues to influence journalists and readers around the world, showing how careful observation can illuminate both ordinary lives and extraordinary achievements. Hollywood has a way of turning people into symbols before they ever get the chance to remain human. Few lives illustrate this transformation more intensely than that of Leonardo DiCaprio. Across decades, he has been cast as everything from the struggling outsider to the untouchable movie star, from the romantic lead to the survivalist consumed by nature itself. Yet beneath the awards, the box office records, and the global recognition lies a more complicated story, one shaped as much by persistence and pressure as by talent and timing. This is not just a story of fame earned, but of identity constructed under constant observation. It is about ambition born in difficult surroundings, a career built through relentless rejection, and a public image that eventually became larger than the man himself. To understand the weight of that legacy, we have to return to the beginning, where survival mattered more than stardom, and where every dream had a cost attached to it. East Hollywood and the shape of survival. Long before fame, there was a neighborhood defined not by glamour but by contradiction. East Hollywood in the late 20th century was a place where aspiration and hardship existed side by side. It was here that a young Leonardo grew up in an environment shaped by instability, creativity, and struggle. His early surroundings were not designed to nurture dreams, but to test endurance. His mother worked tirelessly, often juggling multiple jobs while navigating the financial strain of raising a child alone. His father, an artistic and unconventional presence, contributed influence but not consistency. In this environment, survival became a daily lesson rather than an abstract concept. Even childhood experiences carried weight far beyond their years, teaching resilience through necessity. What might have broken someone else instead formed a kind of early discipline in him, an awareness that nothing would be handed over easily. That understanding would later become central to how he approached every audition, every role, and every rejection that followed. A childhood shaped by motion and sacrifice. From an early age, life for him was defined by movement, across buses, across neighborhoods, across waiting rooms filled with other hopeful faces. His mother's determination became the driving force behind his earliest steps into acting. She accompanied him everywhere, often navigating long journeys for brief auditions that rarely led anywhere. These moments were not glamorous introductions to Hollywood, but exhausting routines built on persistence. While other children experienced stability, his childhood unfolded in fragments of travel, anticipation, and disappointment. Yet within that structure, a lesson formed. Commitment meant showing up even when success was uncertain. His mother's sacrifices were not abstract stories, but lived realities he witnessed daily. Each rejection she absorbed on his behalf became part of his understanding of effort and value. In this constant motion, he learned that ambition was not a feeling, but an action repeated without guarantee. That mindset would later define his approach to an industry built on unpredictability, early rejection, and the discipline of persistence. As he entered auditions more frequently, rejection became a familiar rhythm rather than a shock. Casting rooms were crowded with children who looked just as capable, sometimes more polished, sometimes more connected. He was often seen as just another face among many, and the feedback was rarely encouraging. Yet what could have become discouragement instead turned into endurance. His mother's response to disappointment was consistent: return, try again, continue forward. That repetition formed a kind of emotional training, shaping how he processed setbacks. Rather than interpreting rejection as failure, he began to understand it as part of the process itself. Early roles in television offered limited exposure, but they provided something more important: experience in surviving the system. He was not yet a breakout star, but he was learning how to remain steady in an environment that constantly measured worth externally. This phase built the foundation for a career defined by patience as much as performance. Television roles and the fear of being trapped. When television opportunities finally arrived, they brought visibility, but also new uncertainty. He began appearing in small but recognizable roles that introduced him to a wider audience. However, success in television came with a hidden challenge: the risk of being permanently defined by it. While audiences began to recognize him, he became increasingly aware of the limitations such roles might impose. The stability of television contrasted sharply with his ambition for more complex cinematic work. Internally, there was a tension between gratitude and frustration, between having arrived and still feeling far away from where he wanted to be. He reportedly feared being categorized too early, locked into a version of himself that lacked depth or evolution. This awareness pushed him to pursue film opportunities with greater intensity. Even as those doors remained difficult to open, the industry saw potential but remained cautious, uncertain whether he could transition beyond the image he had already established. Breakthrough performances and critical recognition. The shift from television actor to serious film performer came gradually but decisively through a series of powerful early roles. In emotionally demanding performances during his teenage years, he demonstrated a level of intensity that surprised critics and audiences alike. One particular performance opposite an established veteran actor became a turning point, revealing his ability to hold emotional weight in high-pressure scenes. Critics began to describe him not as promising, but as fully realized. This recognition culminated in major award nominations at an unusually young age, signaling that he was no longer an emerging talent but a legitimate force in cinema. However, recognition did not immediately translate into stability. Even after critical praise, the industry remained selective, offering opportunities but not certainty. He continued to navigate the space between acclaim and expectation, learning that early success could be both a gateway and a burden. The foundation of his career was now visible, but still fragile. Transformation roles and the cost of immersion. As his career progressed, he became known for roles that demanded deep psychological and physical immersion. These performances required more than memorization. They required transformation. He often chose characters placed in extreme emotional or environmental conditions, pushing the boundaries of comfort and endurance. This approach earned admiration for its authenticity, but it also carried a personal cost. The line between character and self began to blur in the public imagination, even as he worked to maintain control over his identity. Extended shoots in harsh environments and emotionally taxing narratives became part of his professional identity. While audiences saw intensity and commitment, few saw the exhaustion behind it. Over time, this pattern reinforced a reputation for total dedication, but also raised questions about how much of oneself can be repeatedly offered to art without consequence. The more convincing the performances became, the more invisible the person behind them seemed to grow. Global fame and the weight of expectation. As his career expanded into global stardom, visibility transformed into constant scrutiny. Fame brought opportunity, but it also removed privacy in ways that were difficult to reverse. Every role became an event, every appearance a subject of analysis. The expectation was no longer just to perform, but to consistently exceed previous achievements. This pressure created a cycle where success was quickly absorbed into expectation, leaving little room for pause or reflection. Public fascination extended beyond his work into his personal life, shaping narratives that often blurred the line between reality and speculation. In this environment, maintaining authenticity became increasingly complex. The very qualities that had once defined his rise, intensity, selectiveness, ambition, now contributed to a sense of distance between public perception and private reality. Fame, once a goal, became an ongoing condition that required constant navigation rather than arrival. Recognition, awards, and public obsession. Despite decades of acclaimed performances, one narrative followed him persistently: the perceived absence of certain major awards. This became a cultural fixation, turning a professional career into a public countdown. Memes, discussions, and commentary often overshadowed the work itself, transforming artistic achievement into spectacle. When recognition finally arrived in the form of major awards, it was met with global attention that extended far beyond the ceremony. Yet, even in victory, the moment carried complexity. What was intended as closure for one narrative became the beginning of another, as expectations shifted once again toward what would come next. The award did not end scrutiny, it redirected it. This phenomenon highlighted a broader truth about fame. Recognition does not always resolve pressure, and achievement does not always quiet expectation. Instead, both can evolve into new forms of attention that continue to define the public relationship with a figure long after milestones are reached. Activism, wealth, and contradictions of influence beyond acting, he became increasingly associated with environmental advocacy and global causes. His efforts supported conservation initiatives and climate awareness, positioning him as a public figure engaged with issues beyond entertainment. However, this dual identity, actor and activist, also generated discussion about contradiction. The nature of modern celebrity often places individuals in roles that are difficult to reconcile fully, especially when visibility spans multiple domains. Wealth, travel, and lifestyle choices became part of public discourse surrounding authenticity and responsibility. These conversations reflected broader cultural tensions about influence and accountability, rather than individual inconsistency alone. As his platform grew, so did the expectations placed upon it, creating a complex balance between personal life, professional obligations, and public responsibility. In this space, every action was interpreted through multiple lenses, reinforcing the challenge of living transparently while remaining constantly observed: relationships, privacy, and public narrative. Public fascination extended deeply into his personal relationships, often transforming private experiences into widely discussed narratives. Over time, this attention contributed to a carefully maintained boundary between public visibility and personal life. While the media frequently constructed interpretations about his private world, the reality remained largely inaccessible. This separation became part of a broader pattern in which fame required protection of inner life in order to preserve stability. The result was a figure simultaneously omnipresent and distant, constantly seen yet rarely truly known. In many ways, this reflects a larger truth about celebrity culture. Visibility does not equal understanding. The more attention a person receives, the more fragmented the public interpretation of their identity can become. For him, maintaining that boundary was not about mystery for its own sake, but about preserving a sense of self within an environment that often resists it: legacy, identity, and the limits of performance. As his career spans multiple decades, the question of legacy becomes increasingly central. His body of work is often described as one of the most influential in modern cinema, defined by range, intensity, and consistency. Yet legacy is not only built on achievements, but also on perception. Over time, his image has become intertwined with the roles he has played, blurring the distinction between character and creator in the public imagination. This fusion raises questions about what remains when performance ends. Is identity shaped by private experience or by the accumulation of public roles? In his case, the answer appears layered and unresolved. The same dedication that built his career also contributed to his separation from ordinary life. The result is a legacy that is both celebrated and complicated, admired for its output, yet often interpreted through the lens of distance and myth. The human question behind the myth. At the core of his story lies a question that extends beyond fame. What does fulfillment mean when achievement becomes constant but restlessness remains? His life reflects a tension between success and solitude, recognition and separation. The pursuit of excellence brought visibility, but also constructed boundaries that are difficult to cross back over. In examining his journey, the focus inevitably shifts from awards or roles to something more fundamental: the human desire for connection, meaning, and continuity. Fame magnifies accomplishment, but does not necessarily resolve internal complexity. Instead, it often amplifies it. His story, viewed in full, is not simply about success in an industry, but about the cost of sustaining it across time. It is a reminder that even the most recognized figures remain shaped by the same questions that define everyone else: who they are, what they value, and what remains when the applause fades. Conclusion: beyond the screen. The story of Leonardo DiCaprio, as it is often told, oscillates between myth and reality, between celebration and critique, between achievement and interpretation. Yet behind all versions of the narrative remains a single consistent truth: a life lived in continuous motion, shaped by early struggle, sustained by discipline, and transformed by global recognition. What the world sees is a performer who has defined generations of cinema. What remains unseen is the private complexity that accompanies such visibility. In the end, his journey is less about a single prize or milestone, and more about the ongoing negotiation between identity and expectation. It raises questions not only about fame, but about the nature of fulfillment itself. And perhaps the most enduring aspect of his story is not what it confirms, but what it leaves unresolved: the space between who we think he is and who he remains when the cameras stop rolling.